Hey guys, it is Carly here bringing you your Tuesday review on body bags as usual. Today I decided to go with a film that is, pretty popular, widely known, and it is one that I had only seen once before, and I decided to give it another watch the other night because I got it on Blu-ray in the horror pack recently, so I decided to check it out again to see if I still felt the same way about it, and that movie is David Cronenberg's The Fly from 1986. Of course, this is the remake of the 50s one, which I have seen, and I do like that one as well, but story of The Fly here is you're following this character played by Jeff Goldblum. I believe his name is Seth Brundle, and he is sort of an overly ambitious scientist who's trying to create this teleporting device because, he believes it'll change the world. It's kind of a remarkable thing, something that's never been done before, and so far in the movie you learn that he has transported animals and objects and things of that nature, but he has yet to transfer a human. He gets, a little ahead of himself and decides to go through the machine himself one night, and it seems to be successful, but the issue is he goes in not knowing that there is also a fly in the machine, and because of that, his genes kind of get mixed in with this fly, and he starts to become a human version of a fly, just a human-sized fly, basically. So this movie just follows him and his transformation, and you also have his girlfriend character, who is this journalist that he meets. You can tell she really, really loves him, and she's trying to be there for him, so you're kind of following her as she deals with him going through this transformation as well. So that is the general story here. The Fly, honestly, it's a pretty basic plot. It starts off with him just kind of talking with the journalist, then they go home to his apartment, they start kind of a relationship, she learns about his experiments, and then he goes through the machine and he starts to just transform, and that's what the whole idea of the movie is, just this terrifying transition into this monster, just this normal dude who transforms into this horrible, grotesque just version of a fly. So, you got that going on, then you have the journalist kind of dealing with her ex-boyfriend / he's kind of like her boss as well. They kind of work together, and that's all that's really going on, and I really like that about it because, it's a basic story, but they really put a lot into it. I feel like the original movie, while it's really good, it's just kind of, like I said, basic, but in this movie I feel like they really amp it up just by putting special effects in it and adding a little more to the story in general. I think they do a really solid job of doing that, and like I said, the movie just kind of opens with these two characters meeting, and there's no bullcrap or anything like that goes on before, like a lot of movies do. I'm okay with that, giving obviously, I like to see character development, but I think it's cool how this one kind of just starts off where you're dealing with our two main characters right off the bat, and there's no funny business. You're right at the point where they meet rather than a long process of them coming together and things like that. You kind of just meet with them, see as they sort of build this relationship, and then you see it fall downhill all in one movie. I think that's really cool, and also the movie ends kind of abruptly. It just kind of, not to give away the ending, but the climax happens and then it just ends. There's no aftermath or anything like that, and I really enjoyed that about it as well. It reminds me very much of just older movies, how, movies from the 40s, 50s, 60s, and stuff like that, how they just kind of end. They kind of just tell their story and get to the point of things, and then the movie's over. They tell their story. There's no filler or anything that you don't really need in the film, which I really like that about this movie because you're not bored throughout it. It definitely kept my interest all the way throughout, just like it did the first time. I thought maybe, sometimes when I rewatch a movie, I don't get into it as much as I would the first time, just because I think, oh, well, I've seen this before, I'll just put it on kind of in the background and half pay attention. But this one, caught my interest right from the start, like it did the first time around, and it kept my interest throughout. I really just love the two main characters as well. I think Jeff Goldblum does a great job in this film, as well as Gina Davis. They're very likable characters. You feel very bad for this, Brundle character as he's going through this issue, because he was just a normal kind of dorky guy, scientist. He was very ambitious about his work, and he just really wanted it to work out, but it goes horribly wrong. So you definitely feel sorry for him, and you also feel sorry for his girlfriend in this movie, because you could tell that she really was falling in love with him. She says she thought he was cute and things like that, and she's really just kind of trying to be there for him, but it's just such a horrible situation that's going on. So all around, they do a great job of making you feel sorry for both of the characters, and I think that's very important in movies. I'm very big on actually liking the characters. I know to some people it doesn't really matter for certain films, but in this case, I'm really glad that you do fall in love with these characters. And what else can I say? I mean, the special effects are just amazing, absolutely grotesque in some parts. I have to look away sometimes, to be honest, because it's kind of the effects that would make me gag and gross me out, and to be able to do that is, something else. I usually don't get that affected by movies. I might have when I was younger, but nowadays nothing really gets me that bad. But this movie, just some of the stuff that goes down, and it really grosses me out, and really got to give it props for that. So overall, great movie. I know a lot of people have seen this movie probably before, but if you haven't, I would definitely suggest checking it out. It's definitely one of the classics. Great special effects, great acting, and just a great story overall. This is definitely how you do a remake right, because like I said, the original movie is a fantastic film in its own respects, but this movie definitely just amps it up and does everything right. It brings, new elements to the table, which I really respect it for that. So The Fly, I actually give a solid 10 out of 10. Definitely check it out if it is one that you have not gotten to yet. And yes, thank you guys for joining me for this Tuesday review, and I will see you next Tuesday.